I think I'll stay for a bit and I'll ask you a couple of questions on what you're doing and how you're doing it. Yeah.
You cool. Akhil, it's live, by the way.
Yeah. All right. Hello. Um, we can. Okay, we're starting. Um, Hi, I'm Akhil, and I'm the creative director of Burning Light Studio. And today we are sharing a little bit on process of how we create a concept art or an illustration with a little bit of AI as well. So we have Derek here. Derek is someone we work with and a lot, and um, so Derek is going to continue leading this workshop. He's going to share his screen right now, and he pretty much yeah, Derek, you can take over.
Awesome. All right, guys. Hey, nice to have you all here. I'm an artist based out of Bangalore, India. I've been working in the industry for a while, and I also work with Akhil at Burning Light quite for a lot of things as well. So I'm just gonna start sharing my screen and take you guys through my process of creating an artwork from scratch and where currently I use AI in the workflow wherever it's needed. All right, so now that my screen is being shared, so usually when it comes to creating an artwork, I usually like doing the ideation part myself. I know a lot of people go these days into text form and type out things in AI and then start getting ideas like that or look up places on Pinterest and so on. But I usually like starting with an idea that I've created, like got it directly out of my head or just direct inspiration, because it makes me feel like I'm in more control of the scene. So here, I thought about creating an artwork today from scratch for you guys. So I roughly sketched this out a few minutes ago, where I have our main character who's standing on the edge of a cliff. And I thought about just making it a scenic call to adventure sort of artwork. And now, a lot of us, what we do as artists is we first create a rough sketch like this, and then we start blocking in colors, blocking in values. Now, that process can take a lot of time. Like if I were to sit and paint in all the sky, the clouds roughly, and then figure out the colors and all of that, it would take quite a while. So this is where currently I like using AI to speed up my workflow, especially if it's for client projects and so on. I still love painting from scratch when it comes to personal art. So I'll just show you guys a very simple workflow that I use that you can use at any point. Now, if we go to a site called Stable Diffusion, which is open source, free to use for all, and I'm not in using the downloadable desktop version. I am just currently just using the web version, and I typed in some keywords: mountain scenery, beautiful clouds, Ghibli art style. And then if you just click generate image, and it'll just take a few seconds, and you get a bunch of 4 images in this online version that you can then click and download from. Now what I'm using this for is just to get ideas and to do the color process for me, to give me a good base to start with, because I know how intimidating a blank white canvas can be. So like this one fits almost perfectly. It's kind of scary. So I can always like copy this image and use it as a base. But what I've already done to speed up the process is I've collected about 4 images just by going over and just clicking generate a few times and getting 4 different images to use. And now I can take references from these images that I've got. With the AI has done the work for me. It's like the idea that I had, I can now visualize it a lot better thanks to the AI. And at this point, I can start getting even more ideas, like the way these mountains look, the way the clouds look, and so on. So I actually like this bottom right image quite well because it has all the elements I'm looking for, like the clouds, the mountains at the back, this cliff in the foreground, and so on, it fits almost perfectly. So what I can do is that I can just take this image and I can set it as a background over here just to speed up my workflow. So I have my rough sketch above this, and now I have this image that has been generated by AI over here. So now what I can do is I can start playing with this image a little, just tweaking it to get it to fit my screen a little better, fit the canvas. And I'm just going to name this as a base. And I usually just create another layer on top of this, on which I then start painting in rough strokes to help it match my scene a lot better. Now your brushes don't really matter. Like, I'm just taking a default round brush to show you. So I'm just blocking in the extra spaces, starting to make this painting fit my scene a lot better. I'm just going to make this really quick just to show you guys the workflow. Now, I really like these mountains over here, so I'm going to quickly just block in a few mountain shapes. And I'm just using the AI as a base to paint out on top of. The process here, like the key is not, like the way I'm looking at it is not to care too much about the details at this point. I just want to block in and get my rough idea out. So that's exactly what I'm doing right now. And if I wanted, I can go and generate more images to give me like a better foreground or a better background. But I just wanted to show you guys quickly on how you can just create a quick workflow, create a quick image, just to get you guys started, create a quick concept art piece. Also, what I like doing in a software like Photoshop is on the top right. I like keeping this navigator on because it gives me a total zoomed out view. So I get to always have a look at how my painting is looking as a whole. Because sometimes when we zoom in like this and we start going to the details, we might detail one area in too much and then lose track of it. So this is just a tip. As long as I have that over there, it helps me keep a good track. Now I just need to block in the foreground. Just a little. I'm going to just switch brushes to something a little faster for this. I use a custom set I created just to speed up my workflow. And I'm using the exact colors that the AI image has given me. So now I don't have to worry too much about actually going and collecting a reference bank, creating a mood board, and so on, because this is just giving it to me straight. And I'm just taking full advantage of that. So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm just selecting different
Derek,
colors from different parts.
I'm just
Yes.
gonna quickly drop in to say that if you guys have any questions you want to ask me or Derek, you can message in the live chat, and throughout throughout the live stream, Derek or I, we will we'll talk about these topics that you would like us to. So yeah, please reach out to us in the live chat, and if you have any any questions, any even if you have any ideas, yeah, just share in the comment section.
Yeah. So, okay, while we're talking right now, what are your thoughts on AI and art in general, as there's been a lot of stir in the industry as of late?
So so I think, since this is a very controversial topic, so what I think is AI is a friend and
Mhm.
AI is something that we'll have to be incorporating it. We'll be making it, we'll be living our lives as a part of it,
Yeah.
for however long we live. But I think the future is AI, and I think you know it is. Of course, there are a lot of unethical things that really pop up that are quite
Mhm. Yeah.
disturbing, are not very good to hear about. But I think that especially incorporating it into whatever you do, use it
Yeah.
as a friend, because AI, uh, artificial intelligence still doesn't have. I think it doesn't have the human emotional value. What when we look at it, we feel a certain emotion. I don't know if AI has that. That is something we as humans add to all these, in whatever we do, whatever art we produce. And yeah, I think it is not something we should be running from, but actually embracing, making it a part of our process, making it a part of you know our content. And yeah, that's what I think. What about you? What do you think?
So I think definitely like the way it has gone about the industry, like just copying people's art and using that as a source for all the data, I think that should not be as is. Because I think that is a crime. It is robbery to take a lot of people's art and use that as data without just without asking anyone. So the thing is, the way I look at AI is yes, it is going to be a tool. Um, it depends, especially now, for example, if I were to create an artwork right now, and I feel like, okay, hey, can I have something that creates four mildly different iterations of this without me having to actually add in different filters and actually manually do all that work? But I give it the source, it's like an artwork that I created, my idea, sketch it in, put that out. I feel using something like that in that way, where we feed it, also would be extremely beneficial for artists, because a lot of artists can now feed in, say, their presets for photography, or feed in things that they've created, their work style, their art style, and use it in a more individualized way to benefit their own work. I think that way will greatly benefit artists, while at the same time it can benefit non-artists, non-creatives in a way, because I've seen a lot of people now, especially writers, what they do is they want to visualize some characters better, so they write in their prompts into an AI and get uh, different images generated from that. Now they don't understand that some of those images are probably stolen art and used things like that. So I think once that gets sorted out, once the issues get ironed out, and there's no more like robbery happening and all, I think it can be a great access. But right now, I can definitely feel artists getting really upset. Like, if I were to see like my art style just being copy pasted everywhere without any effort or without any consent, I'd definitely be upset about it. So, but yeah, definitely as a helping hand, I do see a huge boost in people's workflow for sure.
Yeah, we have there is um General Lord. He's asking,
Yeah.
what softwares are you using right now?
Okay, so I'm using Adobe Photoshop because it's on my desktop. It's easily available. It was the most accessible for the stream. Otherwise, what I do is I also use Procreate on the iPad. The exact same thing. It works almost exactly the same. But right now, I'm just using Photoshop uh, over here. And the AI site I used to get this was Stable Diffusion. So I can get a bunch of different images just by typing in this prompt. These are the four images I got from there, out of which I used the bottom right one. I could have used the mix and match, but the bottom right one seemed to work really well for me, so I just went with that.
Yeah, Derek, I have a question. I want to know, um, when people start off, let's say, because this live stream, we are um, even opening it up to a lot of people who are just beginning their careers as artists, or doing
Yeah.
it as hobbies or whatever. And where do you think, of course, right now they have amazing, talent to enter some really cool prompts. But
Yeah.
what do you think is what else is necessary, in order to go on creating? Like, what are the um, like skills required? What are something that people should focus on developing for themselves?
So I think the basic fundamentals would be there. I know some people have heard a lot. Okay, fundamentals. What is fundamentals? How do we focus on this thing called fundamentals? But I think it is like, say, if you want to do backgrounds, the basic fundamentals of backgrounds are like a little atmosphere, adding perspective, basics of lighting, and basics of distance. So once you get those things down, and especially things like shape language, right? Because a lot of artists, when they start off, they use one soft round, they use a soft brush, and they paint everything, and everything becomes a lot muddier together. But if you see currently, my clouds have a soft, fluffy shape, and my mountains have a much more contrasting, sharper shape. That all comes down to the fundamentals of just understanding. And the way to go about building that is just by doing something that's called studies. By You could probably go out, sit live, do plein air paintings, or take photographs and paint from them, or copy people's work and understand how they go about it. But as long as you are looking at something and trying to replicate it while also trying to understand why do I like this image or what am I learning from this image, that is considered as a study. Now, I used to do a lot of that every day, especially after school, after my college. I would come back home and I would just do a ton of studies all the time. And that's really what helped me grow, improve my skills, and actually get into like becoming an artist, becoming a background artist, going into the visual development side, and so on. So definitely, I think just sitting down and studying, and there are no shortcuts or anything to that to develop the core fundamental skills. Yeah, that's mostly it. It's definitely studies.
Yeah. I have a question, another question. As when you're creating something like this, a lot
Yeah.
of times, we are generating something from, we're generating very something from nothing, right?
Yeah.
So, and we work, especially with the studio and with whatever we do, even our personal art. I believe even your work that I've seen is very story driven. We
Yes.
focus on telling stories. We focus on building some kind of emotion as well, right? So
Yes.
when you're drawing this, I want to know what is going on in your mind, especially when it comes to you telling yourself a story. What kind of story do you want? Are you telling yourself, or you know yeah, yeah, I think that'll be really cool to share.
Yeah. So now, if I go back to my rough sketch, so I have a character here who I've taken references as well. Is our main character from the Upstreet web hours. And now I wanted to place a character on a scene where there's a signboard that sort of shows where you've come on your journey, but also points to the new world beyond. Like the fact that you're at the peak of a mountain, but then you come to this peak and there are hundreds of mountains beyond, and that expansive world that just opens up to you. And yeah, I feel like this road sign just puts you in that space, being like, yes, you are on a journey. And when you come here, it's up to you, like, what's next? That it's like that Legend of Zelda moment. And so many games capture this so well. So I just wanted to try and capture that very quickly. And that's the key story behind it, to just go out on an adventure and try and capture that feel of the adventure.
Mm.
Yeah.
uh, do you want to share even the process behind, or not the process behind, but more of why you do what you do?
Oh yeah. So I guess so. I've always been an artist, and even terms like Akhil just said, storytelling is key, right? And the way we tell stories, the way we put our ideas out, is through art. Some people sing, some people dance. Especially in the creative field, for me, it was always art. If I have ideas, like I always think adventure, ambitious, and so on. So all of those things, the easiest way for me to do it was just to put out an artwork with all my ideas. Like I also think that visuals work heavily for me as opposed to just listening to someone who's just speaking. So art was just my getaway. It was my escape. It was my the route I decided to take, and that's what got me here. And I tried a lot of different things. I tried a lot of different fields in the art side itself, right from uh, graphic design to 2D like book illustration. I used to be a traditional artist. I still am, but I do it as a hobby, more so not really for my career. And I also tried graphic design. I tried 3D modeling. I tried all of that, and it was always art related because I wanted to find a way to make my career through art. So that's what got me here. And yeah, I think a big break for me, a big turning point was when I got hired and I started working for Disney a few years ago. I worked there for about nearly 3 years. And that's when I think it actually solidified for me like, hey, this is my journey. This is what I'm doing. This is what I wanted to do. And I just stuck with it. But otherwise, before that, I was still exploring all the different kinds of art fields that there were.
I'm going to ask you the big question right now. I know a lot of people are watching us right now who are stepping in, just starting their journeys. But and a lot of times you do lose confidence as
Yeah.
if you a lot of times when you fail, you do lose confidence and you think you're a bad artist, or you don't have the skill, or you don't have the knowledge, right? So my big question to you is, do you think anybody can be an artist?
Yes. I think anybody can be an artist if they have the passion and put in the time. There are always ways to learn things. Like you can create a system, you can create a formula and a step-by-step method to learn things. And I think Akhil, you would be also a good example of that, knowing a little bit about your history as well and how you became an artist and where you've reached today. So I think, yeah, it can. I mean, a lot of people do start drawing when they're younger, but I also know a lot of people will be like, hey, I feel creative at the age of 40. And then you look up YouTube tutorials, you look up different things you need to look up. You find out that, okay, hey, these are the resources I need. And and then you just take it from there. You just need the passion, you need the information, which is now freely available on places like YouTube. And you just need to put in the
And even
dedication.
it's even freely available right here on Webiverse. you know um,
Exactly, yes.
yeah, a
True.
lot of people get this, are getting this content, and it's a very, if I watch this for the first time as an artist, I look at this, I can see, how much I can develop just using, AI, and also
Yeah.
watching this, slowly, I can understand a lot, and build on top of this. So yeah, even Webiverse right now, them sharing this
Yeah.
whole, stream, I think it's an amazing resource.
Oh, for sure. Like when I heard about this, I was like, wow, that is really cool actually. Like just a YouTube live stream or wherever it's being shared, just the fact that it exists is actually pretty cool. Like back when I was getting into the scene, like I didn't have these resources so easily available. And yeah, it's actually awesome that we also get to be a part of it,
Mm.
which I think is pretty cool. It's also pretty humbling.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this. Let's talk about resources, right? Um, some people have just a paper and a pen. Some people probably
Yeah.
have an iPad. Some people have Photoshop. Um, what do you think? Do you think people with very limited resources can do whatever that you're doing today, or do you think resources are absolutely necessary?
So I think, and I know for a fact that there are some artists out there who just, paint with their fingers on their Android phone and do a better job than me easily. And I think with today's technology and what is available to us, I think it's definitely possible to start wherever you are. I know also in the industry, there are a lot of artists who sketch with pencil on paper just to put their ideas out, and that gets taken as the sketch, the character designs for movies. I mean, there's this artist called Shun Kim who sketches really roughly. It almost looks like pencil on paper, and those sketches end up being the concept art for a lot of animated movies. So it's incredible, and I think it just depends on the skill level and the art that gets put out, because good art can be created on a napkin. It's I don't think there are limitations like that, but I do think it's easier if you have resources, but it's definitely not impossible if you don't.
Yeah, I really love what Franco said. Franco said on the live chat. They're saying that real, don't be lazy and put in the work if you want it bad. You know,
Oh yeah.
and let's talk about opportunities. Something that we've been talking about for a while, on how to get opportunities and how to search for work, search for places to showcase your work. You want to give some insight into that, Derek?
Yeah. So from my life and my experience, most of the opportunities came to me when I started putting my work out, at whatever level, when I was just a beginner or even now. So when I was, just to give you guys an example, I once did a 3D modeling class in my second year of college. And I decided to put out these artworks on Facebook because, why not? Right. And these were like 2 months into learning a software called Maya. And I didn't know anything much. Okay. But then I modeled some cards because most people model, like we all go and model cars, right? They're so cool. And I didn't model them properly. Like I didn't understand how something called a mirror thing works. I modeled half the car and I cleverly took pictures of it to make it seem like it's the full car. I just put those out on Facebook, right?
Mhm.
This is 2 months into just learning how to model. And that got me a job as a car designer. Like somebody saw that and was like, wow, can you come and do these custom designs for us? So they had some designs and I had to make 3D custom renders of it. And those cars actually got made. So it's quite incredible. Like, I think it's just to do with just putting yourself out there and starting wherever you are and not waiting with the mindset like, yeah, 2 years from now I'm going to be great, 2 years from now I'm going to have this, and I'm going to wait till I get a laptop, I'm going to wait till that. No, I don't believe in that. I believe in just starting wherever you are, from whichever point, and even just going and talking to people, because there are so many people that need work and you don't even need to be the best artist for that work.
Yeah. Also, I want to point out the fact that there are people. I think it's all about reaching out, and there are people that will put out your work there, will help you share. And yeah, I want to give a huge shout out to even Webaverse, to because they gave this opportunity, and we are able to share a lot of what we do, and a little bit insight into even our lives through the stream.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, very true. Definitely a big shout out. Like, uh, this is actually very awesome, the fact that we get to do this.
Yeah. So please, feel free to ask more questions in the chat. And yeah, Derek, you should be done soon, right?
Yeah, almost there, just getting there. But yeah, this is how like my workflow for just making a rough sketch and then getting the main colors, the inspiration, the lighting, all of that from AI, and then making it mine again by turning it from this to this.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, and once I have the character, it's kind of done. So I just got to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm using now is just a lasso tool. Otherwise, what I do is I just take the normal brush tool and block in the character. But yeah, this I'm just used to using this. There's no right or wrong way to do things, especially when it comes to painting. There are so many ways to get things done.
Okay, General Lord is saying what relayers you guys are using for the concept 2D art. Not sure I understand that question. Do you think you could rephrase it?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what he means by relayers. So I have my character references here.
You know what we could do, Derek,
Yeah.
is we could put out I have to check with the Webverse team though, but we could put out the initial sketch in the Webverse
Yeah.
Discord and probably see what people come up with using AI, using you know
Oh,
their
yeah,
own
that would
skills.
be a cool idea.
Yeah, if we could put out the initial sketch, it would be really awesome to see what people come up with.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we could do that. That's a cool idea.
I know Fed is lurking in the comment section. I mean, in the live chat. So Fed, if you have any insight on this, would love for you to say something.
Oh, I have a small trick I use to usually wrap up a painting.
Hmm.
Uh, I just merge all the layers into one layer. On Photoshop, the shortcut is Control Shift Alt E. Call this a comp layer. Then this is what anime usually does.
Hmm.
This is how they create a bloom. So I give it like a Gaussian blur of say 5, or you can even go up to like 10. Uh, I reduce the opacity to something like 30%. And when I change the mode to a screen or a color dodge, it automatically just ties the painting together and gives it that bloom effect. And this is what anime does mostly to get that bloom. You can always pump up the opacity and you get that nice dreamy feeling to a painting. It's just a small hack. But yeah, this is a quick 30-minute workflow of how you can start from a rough sketch and use AI as a base, then a quick paint over of about 20 minutes, and you get something like this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Do you want to show a couple more things that, or a few more things that you've done in the past on your Instagram or
oh
wherever?
yeah. So the artwork I normally do are things like these. Um, these are some of my personal art. These are done on softwares like Procreate and Photoshop. Uh, sorry. And this is my usual work. I try and create at least one a day of my personal art. And these artworks, yeah, I just keep putting it on my social media, which is like Instagram. And yeah, this is my profile. If you guys want to check it out, it's Derek Dominic D'Souza. And yeah, I mostly try and focus on creating a lot of moody or atmospheric scenes as such. And of course, telling as much story as possible within them.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
oh, we have one question. How have AI tools such as Stable Diffusion,
Yeah.
um, yeah, how have AI tools such as Stable Diffusion affected your productivity? Are you are you finding? Wait, what? Um, are you finding? Are you able to do twice as much before? 3x maybe? Do your employers expect more out of you now? Oh, this is an interesting question.
Hmm.
Yeah, so she's basically asking, um, are because the process has become faster, people who hire us, are they asking us to make it faster? Um, and how much of it has affected productivity? That's an interesting question.
So, now when it comes to AI, definitely use it when it comes to client work because the faster you get iterations done, the better, and then you can spend time and actually make it a final artwork. It has definitely improved my productivity quite a bit, but at this point, no clients have asked me to speed up my workflow or do things faster. I still think we're in a state where clients, of course, respect the artist and respect the time it needs. And we can always mention, at least for me, who's an independent artist, I can always mention I need this much time to make an artwork and agree on those terms and set my terms before getting to a project. So I try and work at my comfort as much as possible. But personally, I can definitely say AI becoming a part of my workflow when it comes to client projects and bigger projects where I need to get ideas out fast and I can't sit and actually spend a lot of time thinking and spending most of the day ideating myself. AI is like a friend that way. Like I'll be like, oh, what about mountain scenery with this? And AI just throws back these ideas, and then I'm the one who picks and directs it. So yeah.
Yeah, Derek, they're asking if you could add a little bit more elements or details to the character, a
Yeah,
little
sure.
bit pop. Also, we have a question from Vinay.
Yeah.
It, is the process for creating your work similar to what you're doing on on the stream?
So for a lot of projects, yes, it is similar now, especially now that I've recently started using AI. But my workflow is the same. Now, what I did with AI, I would normally do by myself from scratch, either using things like photo bashing or painting from scratch. So in that way, AI just speeds up the entire workflow. For me, it saves me about at this point like a good hour of my time. So also whoever made this artwork, big shout out to them. I love it. Love the composition. Love everything about it. I'm just using that as a reference now to flesh out the character more.
Yeah, I hope that answered your question. But a little insight on even I could give is that right now, yeah, I think employers still don't know that we could use AI, so they're not
Yeah.
aware of it as much. But yeah, I don't think we will have any pressure anytime soon to make the process faster, because art is something where the more time we take to build, the better it is in quality.
Yeah.
And yeah, so um, yeah, I think even if we do integrate AI, we still need a little bit of time to, you know, um, work on the details, work on the concept, work on the elements of it. So yeah, that's what I personally think as well. And we have more questions. Vinay is asking, you said that you did a lot of studies after college. What
Yeah.
were you looking at and observing while doing them?
Okay, so what I would do is that so I used to be a portrait artist, okay? And I realized that I am terrible at making backgrounds. So what I did was I was not up for the whole going outside, sitting in the hot sun like you're in Bangalore in the summer vacations, especially, and sitting and painting live. So I would find wallpaper sites and try to find pictures that looked as natural as possible, like not as edited. Because when I looked at a lot of interviews by other artists, I found out that it's you need to learn what exists first before learning how to exaggerate it. So I try to look at real life scenes as much as possible. And what I started learning from that was like, okay, hey, so if there are trees over here, there are mountains over here, how do I paint in my own understanding to make them look like trees or mountains? Like I'm not going to sit and paint every single leaf on a tree. How do I capture the shape of a tree easily? So I would also look at other artists and see how they did it. And based on that, I would keep learning. Like I would study from other artists, copy their works, not put those out because I wouldn't claim that their works are mine. I would just keep those under the wraps as my study, my personal sketches. And then after that, I would study from real life. And because I had no understanding in background, I just focused only on backgrounds for a year. And then I became a background artist. So I think, yeah, that kind of worked out.
Yeah, that's amazing. We will be wrapping up in another four minutes. Um, just giving a heads up. So if any of y'all have any questions, final questions, we would love to answer. Yeah, I think we have no questions. That's
Awesome.
good. All right, so I think it's done. You know, it's really cool. So we'll be definitely putting out the sketch, I guess, once we talk to Fed and the Webverse team. But if you guys, want to add stuff to it, want to change this around a little bit, yeah. Derek is also on the Webverse space
Yeah.
right now, so would love. I think he would love to give his feedback. I'd love to give my feedback. Um, yeah, we're really excited. That most of you could join us. Thank you so much. Reach out to us if for any visual development, concept,
Mhm.
animation, whatever. Um, yeah, thank you so much. And um, this is I'm Akhil from Burning Light Studio again, and this is Derek. So we'll
Yeah.
be signing off right now, and yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you so much, Fad. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Weber.
so much, everyone. Yes. We had a great time doing this, and it's been amazing.